This is what we're making. It's basically a spring-loaded pinch bail. So if I pull that from the back, I'll be able to snap that off my little jump ring. Yep. We're going to make a pinch bail today. This particular piece of metal is 0.7 thick, 7.5 millimeters wide, 28 millimeters long. You can make this any size you want. I would suggest taking a piece of fairly thick card and cutting it out, folding it, and having a look and see if that's the size you want. If that's the size you want, then transfer that to a piece of metal. This one is fairly small because it's going to be for a pearl pendant. So what you're going to do is scribe a line down the middle, and I do that just by getting the width, taking half of it, clamp your calipers, and just run them down the metal. Now we want these lines on what's going to be the back so we don't have to clean it up. This is just so that we can lay it out and have it symmetrical. So that is the middle of that, and now we also want the middle across, and that'll give us our marks to lay out from. We have our basic lines. Now leave a millimeter on either side of this. Use your straight edge. Go from the center to that mark. Do the same thing so that you end up, do the same thing on both ends so that you end up with a diamond shaped bail. Saw this where your marks are, and then file it, and then sand it. We have our basic shape. Now just brace it against your bench peg, and if it's not quite symmetrical, you can bring it up to shape just by filing it. Slightly round the ends, just for aesthetics. Now, set your calipers at 2 millimeters, drag it across just one end, and we're going to put a mark on that end so that we can drill. And we want to drill a 1.2 millimeter hole because we're going to put a piece of 1.2 wire in there and solder it. I've stuck my 1.2 wire through. Now you only need about 2 mil on the inside, and we need enough sticking out so we can solder it. So cut it about there. So I got this on my charcoal block, a little bit of flux right where the wire comes through, 2 pieces of hard solder. Now this is on the inside because we're not going to be able to see the inside, and if we solder correctly, the solder should go through to the back and give you minimal cleanup. So a neutral flame, and I'm just drying this out slowly. The flux will quit bubbling. Keep it warm, and then you can push your soldered chips next to the wire. Keep warming, the flux will go clear, the solder will flow. That's it. Quench it and pickle it. Have a really close look, and you should see a nice meniscus from your solder, both inside and outside. That means that's that curve. Now file the outside flat, sand it, and I would recommend polishing it before you go any further. If you want to put a decoration in this, you should do it while it's flat. You can, at this point, and you should hallmark this on the back. Your layout lines should be on the inside so that they're invisible. You don't have to clean them up. And what you can, like I say, what you can do is you can put this on a bench block. I'll just zoom out. If you put this on a bench block, you can put decorations on what will be the front. I'll just do a couple little marks here. Now, when you polish this up, you'll have these nice little accent marks, and that'll be it. So tidy up your bump on the outside where you've soldered. File this back to 2 millimeters long. So you're going to just shorten it and have a flat top on this wire. So now this is all tidied up, and you can't see where the wire came through, which is what we want. Polish this now. I've only taken this back with 400 grade paper. You can use 800 if you want, but this should shine up okay with the triply. So polish it now, the outside and the edges, and if you really want, you can do the inside. Here we are, almost polished. Now, this is annealed at this point, which means that if you bend it around to hold something, it'll probably just come undone. So what I would do is I would form this and then chuck it in the tumbler for about an hour. Now, I made this to fit a pearl peg. It can be any length you want, and it's just so that if you have something with a small hole in it, it'll go on there. This will come around and touch so that it won't come off. And you don't have to worry about ruining the piece by soldering where the pin goes through. So we'll just bend this into shape now and tumble it. And after you tumble it, even though it's touching, you'll be able to spread it just enough that you can snap your little ring in. So I'm going to just hold this, and we've got our center mark on the inside. I'm going to the large part of my flat round pliers, and then I'm just going to push the two ends up and over, and we want them so that they meet. And if you push them slightly past each other, then you'll have good tension holding the thing together. Yep. So that is our pinch bail. And like I say, tumble it to get the to work harden it a little bit. And saying that, just by bending this around, you would have work hardened it a little. But tumble it about an hour. This is 0.8 square wire. This is for the pearl peg. Take about a 20 mil long piece. Grab the two ends with your parallel jaw pliers. Just give it a nice twist. I'll find it in a minute. So want a nice little twist like this. Make sure that the twist goes all the way up. You can just grab it a little bit higher up. That's a magic thing about parallel jaw pliers. The wire fits right down in. Now, we're going to grab this end with our flat round pliers. File it flat first. And we only want a small loop in the end. So I'm going to come up to about 1.5 millimeter size. Roll it tight against your finger. Relax the pliers, get another grab, roll it so that it touches. Now we want to solder that where it touches. Any solder. I use hard, but you can use easy. So after you've soldered it, go back on your flat round pliers, shift it around, and center it. So we want it so that that loop is in the middle of the wire. This is your pearl peg ready to use. If you have a half drilled pearl, use a piece of broken saw blade, measure the length you need, and cut this accordingly. Now you need a bead cap, which you can make just by cutting a disc and either polishing it, doming it, leaving it plain, or you can decorate it. So you slide the bead cap on, put glue on this and in the hole of the pearl, slide it on and let it set. Now if it goes all the way through the pearl, just let it come all the way through. When the glue sets, trim this off, and you can actually file back to the pearl. You shouldn't hurt the pearl. Be relatively careful though. So that's it. Once you get this done, when your bail is finished, then you can just slightly separate the bail, snap that in, and you're finished.